Coming to you live from the nation's third most dangerous city, Studio 1714.
This is the Hippie Conservative.
Today, Steve is not with us. He's out on assignment. But today, we're sitting down with Terry Bankert. Terry Bankert is an attorney in the city of Flint. He also used to be the ombudsman for the city of Flint. And E.C. and Terry are going to be sitting here talking about the political process. So I'm just going to sit back and interject once in a while. You guys go on.
Well, welcome to our show, Terry.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
We're very glad to have you. We want to talk a little bit about the election that just passed. And I think that part of the problem with the way it happened is a lot of people don't even understand. I had people approaching me, actually held like class at a Taco Bell the other day, that they don't understand how the delegate system works, why we got our delegates taken away. And Terry used to work for the Democratic Party.
Right. I left the party in the 70s, but I was when I was 25, I was the executive director of the county party. Held that job for about 7 years.
So you got some...
Yeah, I was a kid with a clipboard, basically.
Well, you're what we need right now, and that's somebody that understands, you know, some of the things that are going on. And one of the things that happened was we got our delegates taken away. What exactly is a delegate, Jerry?
Well, I don't know the numbers, okay, but each state gets a certain number of delegates, each state political party, that they send to a state convention. So, for instance, sometimes, and it's usually one man, one vote. So if Michigan has allocated to the Democratic Party, say, 100 delegates out of Genesee County, that's a large number, they then go to the national convention and they vote on the presidential candidate.
So they actually do the voting.
They do the voting.
Despite the fact that we vote, I mean, that's the people that actually
But the
pick the nominee.
the people didn't directly vote on an individual. What they did is they voted on a presidential candidate that creates a percentage for what percentage of those delegates, say Clinton gets or now uncommitted gets. So that at the congressional district meetings, this is where this battle's going to take place. That's where the deal's going to go down. That individuals will be assigned then or elected to those delegate seats.
So the delegates are actually people.
They're actually people.
And they're usually people that are active within the Democratic Party?
They're precinct delegates.
In this case, I mean, we're talking about the Democratic Party right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a power thing, okay? So the people that control the party are going to control this process. And that'll be duly elected precinct delegates. You get elected every 2 years. And I believe party members. And there'll be a meeting, usually it's at the Region 1C office, of which slates will be put up.
And you're talking about our district that we're in right now, which is around Flint, Genesee County.
Dale Kildee's congressional district. So there'll be a meeting that party regulars will show up and they'll decide who gets to go for the Clinton seats, and then the whole group of people will decide who gets to go for the uncommitted seats.
And there's an interesting point. Yeah, that's definitely the rub.
Yeah.
Because we have two different things, and there's first uncommitted delegates.
Correct.
And then second, there's super delegates.
Well, superdelegates, I don't believe are going to be sent locally.
That's in the state.
That'll come from the state central committee.
Okay.
That meeting will probably be the following week.
Okay. And that helps explain. Like I was on Real Clear Politics, which I would recommend people go to, and I was looking at the results after the New Hampshire and Iowa. And the funny part about it is even though, as we all know, it was really close between the two afterwards, it actually ended up that Hillary Clinton has twice as many delegates after just those two than what Barack Obama ended up with. And that reason is because of these uncommitted delegates.
Correct.
And that makes it kind of
right, and it's
shady to say the least.
Well, it's not shady, but my view of these things is there's no coincidence, there's no accidents. Okay?
Yeah, I always say there's no accidents in politics.
The people in control decided that they could achieve two things. They could challenge the National Democratic Party for the placement of Michigan's primary, and at the same time secure more delegate seats for Clinton.
Right.
It's no accident that she was the only one on the ballot.
I agree with you 100%, and that's what I've been saying.
I haven't talked to anybody that seems to know a little bit about this that
Well,
thinks that the Michigan delegates in the end won't get seated at the convention.
To be fair, we should say Kucinich was also on the ballot too.
Oh, okay. I'm with you on this. I'll go with you, okay?
Yeah, I mean, he did
Yeah.
bring in, what was it, 1% or something like
Right.
that, so, you know,
So
we don't want to diss out the Kucinich people.
So what you have now.
We're
is-
actually probably smoking pot at home.
I have no knowledge.
Okay.
We have people now that are gonna run for these seats, and they're gonna say, well, I was with Clinton, so I'm going for these Clinton seats. But it's party regulars that are at this meeting. It's people that will have a tendency to be going with big labor and with the entrenched Democrats.
Correct.
That are all Clinton people, basically.
Is
There'll be some Obama people there, and the battle will be between the people that were Clinton people all along, but now all the Clinton delegates are gone, so they're gonna be eyeing these uncommitted delegate seats that no caucus is attached to, no candidate names attached to. It's a free-for-all.
Do you think yourself that these that the delegates will be seated? I mean, when you know, right now our delegates are sanctioned in Michigan.
Yeah.
What does that sanction mean?
Sanction means basically that they won't be seated, they won't be allowed to vote.
Okay.
I can't imagine that the National Democratic Party will allow there to be a convention that elects the party's nominee for president, that says 2 or 3 of the major states in the country,
Us,
their
Florida.
their delegates can't participate. Okay, that's what people that appear to be in the know are telling me. All right, I personally think the DNC should just shove it right up Mark Brewer and the Michigan Democratic Party for the nonsense they created, but nobody's calling me for my opinion.
Well, I beg to differ. We did.
But they might
There you go. There you go.
Well,
But,
I mean, we're more than glad to have you here, Terry, because this is really big as far as we're concerned. You know, we've been involved in this since we first found out that we were going to get sanctioned, and since this whole thing brewed up.
Well,
So,
go ahead.
I was surprised actually that the parties don't handle the delegates the same fashion. That's what I was surprised by when you told me that.
Yeah, actually, it turns out that the Republican Party has half as many delegates that end up going to their convention as what the Democratic Party has. Also, that there's, you know, in the caucuses, there's a big difference, whereas the Republicans will have any amount of, like, if one guy raises his hand for, say, Ron Paul, he gets counted as a delegate. I mean, if he can reach a reasonable percentage where they can actually seat a delegate. Now, the Democrats, on the other hand, if I understand it correctly, you have to have 15% at the caucus when, you know, they say, everybody go over to this side for Obama, everybody go over this side for Clinton, everybody for Dodd, everybody for Richardson, or whatever. If you don't reach that 15%, and this is what happened in Iowa, then they turn to those people and they say, you have to go to a different candidate.
They broker it.
They broker it, yes.
Remember
correct.
that word, broker.
Broker.
Okay.
Because for the only time in our lifetime, we may see a brokered convention.
Oh, really?
That's
Now, what is that exactly, what does that
Well,
mean?
what you just said, that when the Ron Paul people didn't reach a threshold where they could vote for their candidate, now they're free. Now they go someplace else.
Correct.
And so and I'm reaching back into my own history a little bit, but my guess is that there's a certain number of ballots at a national convention, and if a majority isn't reached, then delegates gradually become uncommitted and can shift and move around. That's called a brokered convention. That's the ultimate in backroom politics. Okay.
Oh, and then
And
so
we've
there's
never
gonna
seen
be-
one. We've never seen one. And I think and there was some press that maybe the Republicans are facing it. And, you know, if Obama comes out of the blue and somebody else picks up some steam, maybe it'll happen for the Democrats.
I mean, on a personal level, what do you feel the likelihood of that, of Obama gaining steam? Because what I'm looking at is that, you know, Super Tuesday looks like it's pretty tilted toward Clinton.
Well, who'd have thought? Okay, because
It's a big surprise, isn't
with
it?
all this mess that's going on right now, people have seen confusion. What they don't understand is what 10% of the delegates have been selected so far.
Yes.
You know, Super Tuesday is going to rule. Big money in the end is going to rule.
Okay, well, Terry, thank you ever so much for explaining some of this stuff to it. I mean, you cleared up a lot of
Very
stuff for
enlightening.
me.
I'm very
Yeah.
enlightened by this now. I mean, it's like I feel like more grounded in the political process. But
Well, I think everybody should find out when these congressional caucuses are meeting and just go watch.
Just to see the fun,
It's
huh?
going to be the best show in town.
thanks again.
Okay.
All right, my pleasure.
This is
All right,
John.
thanks
you.
again, Terry.
Thank
This
you.
is John.
And this is the Hippie Conservative.
This is Studio 1714.